So, joining us this morning, we would be welcoming, sorry about the pop-ups, we're welcoming Kelina Powell, who is a CEO, a author, and also a coach, who will be taking us through creating inclusive and engaging classrooms for students with disabilities. So, Kelina, you're welcome. You can proceed by sharing your screen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, can everybody see my screen here?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Hi everybody, my name is Kalina Powell. I am so many hats. Honestly, we'll get to it right now. So I am a CEO of Clean Empowerment Inc. and Hadwa Amazon bestselling author, Hadwa international speaker, and I'm also a mentor to provide for people how to be inclusive, especially for organization, community, and schools Hadwa. And just like the way I'm coming on here just to teach you how to be inclusive, just like for everybody else. Um, and yeah. And so today's discussion, we're going to be talking about importance of inclusivity, understanding disabilities, and as well, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my journey as a student when I was growing up as well, and common communication strategy and engagement with families, and then at the end will be Q&A. So before we get into it, I'm sure some of you are teachers, speech therapists, or any professional who works with child with disabilities. So, before I continue on, I want you to take a minute for yourself and really think about a student in your classroom or even just someone you know that have a disability. I want you to think about it for a second and think about okay, you've thought about someone. Now, think about the type of disability that you know or are aware about physical, sensory, emotional, behavior, or cognitive. So I want you to take a moment to really think about it for a second, because this whole presentation is really about understanding someone's disability, especially in the classroom, and how we can be more inclusive. So for me, for myself, I am actually a hard of hearing person. I was not born deaf. I actually became deaf at the age of 4 due to an infection. And so, because a lot of people don't take the time to really understand the disabilities, especially someone who is trying to help someone. So it's very important that we do understand what it truly someone's disability is, right? So create an inclusive environment. So when you think about a classroom, sometimes we think we know everything. Sometimes when we teach a class, we think we know everything. Sometimes we do not, right? For example, physical accessibility. A lot of time when I notice when I teach classroom or even when I do speaking events for a classroom, I notice there's a lot of things that could be better to improve in the classroom, especially for example, if a student is a wheelchair, is there anything or even a door that is wide for the client, for the students to come in and out without finding difficult, especially if they are trying to go in and out of the classroom without automatic door open. A lot of times people don't always have that in the classroom. So, and that's what brings me to classroom layout of the classroom. You want to make sure your classroom is very acceptable for everybody as a whole, especially if someone is hard of hearing, wheelchair, or has any other equipment that help them move. Right? So it's very important that we understand the materials of what they're using and the students are using. So because if we don't understand, like I said before, previously, it's understanding someone's disability. If you cannot understand someone's disability, how can you help your students to improve their performance in the class, right? So you want to make sure that the classroom layout is very acceptable, and you don't want to just say, you know what, here, right? Sometimes as a teacher or any profession in the field in a classroom, sometimes it gets overwhelmed, and I understand that. But at the same time, that's why I would tell people you have to understand what the challenge are in the classroom for the student, right? In order to make it acceptable. And as well, peer support and collaboration. You want to make sure that you are also helping the student especially collaborating with their families, the specialists in the school, but we'll talk more into it in the next slide, the next coming slide. Technology. So when we're talking about technology, we want to make sure that technology is acceptable for everyone in the classroom. So what I mean by that is keyboard, speech to text program, or anything that's related to help a student to use technology. I noticed that when I do my speaking, once again, I noticed a lot of students prefer using technology instead of hands-on. The reason for that is because it's much convenient for them. You want to make sure that when you're using technology, for example, an iPad, I know some people use iPad in the class, more convenient for them. You want to make sure that if you offer the iPad to the student, just make sure that this is something that the student is able to do. A lot of times, some students prefer hands-on. But again, every student is very different. You don't want to think that if a technology works for one student, it's going to work for another student. That's not how it works. Every student is very different. For example, myself, I remember a teacher asked me, do you prefer using a computer when you're writing an essay? And I said, I like to use both. I like to use write, and I would like to use computer to edit my grammar and my spelling. Because sometimes my spelling, my grammar can be very different to writing and on the computer. It can be very different. So just be mindful in terms of how you are helping students, especially when using technology. However, I encourage you to ask students how would they like to have the work done. If they prefer using technology or if they like to prefer using writing. I just wish that for me had a hard of hearing student when I was a student, I did wish a teacher give me that option to say, Kalina, here you go, here's the technology. You can use it to type your essay. So I wish I had that, but always be open-minded when it comes to technology, especially helping a student to improve the essay. If you notice a student's essay or, even a software that's trying to help them to do better in class, always do your research on any software that can help any student to improve. Because if you don't do your research on software, what's the point of helping a student to become successful in the classroom? So be mindful of what software you're using that's going to help the student, especially hard chords, especially like hearing aids. If a student prefer a microphone or any other hearing devices to help them hear in class, be conscious, be mindful, and ask the students what's best for them instead of their parents. But we're going to go talk about the parents slowly down the road. So communication strategy. So when we are talking in terms of communication, I'm pretty sure a lot of us understand and know what communication is, but I'm not going to go through that. However, when it comes to the education system, it's very tricky because sometimes I know a lot of teachers or a principal, any role you have, they will say, I have a very effective communication with my student. Well, it may not be the case for the student. You want to be mindful how you are communicating with the student. Every student's communication style is different. And a lot of time when I'm doing my speaking or even given an organization a presentation about communication strategy, they always keep thinking, oh wow, I didn't even thought about that. So a lot of time when you're speaking with your student, make sure you're using something very clear, something maybe specific on what type of language style you use and to communicate with your student. It's very important that we learn how to have a very clear communication with students because a lot of students may not always take it in the way you hope they would. Sometimes they don't like to ask teachers to repeat what they said because they may feel embarrassed, they don't know what to do, or they don't know how to advocate for them. Especially coming from a disabled student myself, I don't always like asking my teacher to repeat sometimes because I feel like they're going to say something like, "Oh, how come you didn't get the first time I told you?" It happens to me numerous of time where I ask teachers to repeat what they're looking for, what they're asking for, because I felt like I could not accommodate myself. And so that's why I was saying using very clear language, very clear, simple communication style, so that way there's no barriers between the communication. And also too, you want to make sure that you are able to communicate the way the students should be communicated. A lot of time with teachers, again, we're so busy, we're so caught up in so many things that's going on in the classroom, but it's very important that you do take your time to learn and understand how each student communicate. Everybody communicates very different, especially different disabilities. Like for example, myself, I didn't learn sign language until I was 5, 6 years old. However, I communicate verbally. I know other people communicate through visually, through technology, the phone, or even any other communication tools. There's a lot of ways to communicate with students who have a disability. There's so many ways. It's very cool how technology is growing now, especially for those who have disability, which is very cool. I have networked with a lot of people who had different communication. It was really cool. So it's very important that before we go to the next slide, I do want to make it very clear for those who are working with someone who have a disability. It's the most number one key thing is communication. Learn how they communicate, speak with their family, friends. How do they communicate when they go home? You want to make sure that the communication when they're home is the same thing at school or even in the classroom. You don't want to mix up the barriers how they communicate, because what happens is you will leave the student confused or lost, where it impacts their performance in the classroom. And like I said, engaging with family. It's super important that we learn how to have a very good, strong relationship with family. The reason why I said that is because I'll tell you my personal story. When we had to do an IEP meeting to educate individual education plan, and I remember my teachers would have meetings with my parents without me in the room. And that was something that my family realized and said, Kalina needs to be in this room because at the end of the day, this is her IEP. And very funny, the teacher didn't buy it. And she's like, no, like, just, I know what's best for Kalina. But realistically, she did not know. Every teacher thinks they know what's best for the child, unless you have a really good, strong relationship with the family. And so I'm really grateful that my family was able to build that strong relationship with my teachers to make sure that the teachers' communication with updates in the classroom. So it's very important that you, especially professional who's working with children with disabilities, is making sure you have a strong relationship with family. Because at the end of the day, the students are coming to you from 9 a.m. to what, 4:30, 3:30. Students are with you full day, right? So it's very important that you are able to have that strong relationship with family to help students to grow. If you don't have that strong, solid relationship with the family, most likely you're not doing a good job. I know it's hard to keep up with so many families, but it's very important that we can actually help the child to have a great success in school, especially if you can just also provide resources and support. It's very important that we actually understand what is going on in the family home. Because if you don't understand what's going on in the family's home, especially someone with disabilities, it's very hard to balance, right? For example, if a kid showed up to school, doesn't show up to school one day, and you didn't communicate that with the family, then how would you know what's going on in the home, right? It's just like if you, it's like work, life, and balance, right? If you cannot learn how to balance with family and work, then how are you supposed to succeed? And that's exactly how it is for engaging with families. It's very important that we understand what is going on with the home, especially building that strong relationship with the family in order to help the child become successful in school. And also too, I also wanted to say always involve families in the learning process. So what I mean is that always give them update what is going on, what is happening. I notice a lot of time teachers don't really always update families regularly. They only update them through report cards. And this is where a lot of frustration happens a lot of time with especially someone who is disabled like myself. I remember when I was younger, I used to get report card, and then my teacher would used to write a long like paragraph about my performance, and my family got upset. They said, "Why did you not communicate this?" and what the issue was. And so by the time, the end of the year, it's kind of late for me to improve my performance because my teacher didn't say anything to me or my parents. So you do want to make sure you want to avoid that barrier in terms of making sure the students become success. And this is why it's very important to engage with families and have a very strong relationship because at the end of the day, this is a child's life that you are currently working with and you're trying to help them. I understand it can be very hard working with someone who is disabled. It's not always easy, but definitely keep the family in the loop what is really going on in the learning process. And also as well, this is very important. I can't say this enough to a lot of teachers and principals or guiding counselor, anything that had to do with the school system role, continue learning how to collaborate with specialists. Every specialist is very, very important for every disabled person. For me, when I was growing up, I was actually working with a speech therapist from grade 5 to grade 9-ish. So I was working with the speech therapist. I remember my teacher would actually have a good communication with her about my speech. And it was very fascinating to see how two people can actually work together to help me improve my speech and my school performance. So you want to make sure that whatever specialists your students have, work with them. Learn about the training that they're doing with the students so that way you can bring it into the classroom. Remember, keep in mind, you're working with a child from literally 8:30 to 4:30, right? You're working with a child all day. And then after that, the child may have a specialist right after. So it's very important that we have a good plan when you're working with a specialist so that way the child is not falling behind with the specialist and especially in school. A lot of time when a child, disabled child goes to a specialist, therapist, or anything like that, it can be a lot for us. And that's why it's very important for teachers to learn how to plan what it is that the children is currently working on outside of school and as well regular communication. It's very important that we understand what is happening because if we don't understand what's going on with the specialist and especially in the school, we want to make sure that we are trying to keep it not too much for the child. But again, every child is different. I want to keep that everybody in mind. Every child is different. So you want to make sure that, specialist advice in the classroom is very key because if we do not ask those questions to the specialist, then how are we able to help a child become successful in school? Right? Because you want to make sure that you can also bring into the classroom space for them to learn and for them to be independent themselves. You want to be mindful how we can do that. And a lot of time, especially with specialists, sometimes they don't always have the answer for everything. I know some teachers get frustrated sometimes when they're working with specialists because they're trying to help the child, but at the same time, the specialist will say, for example, a specialist may say, unfortunately, the classroom doesn't have the tool for the client, and we cannot bring that to the classroom. So sometimes it's a lot. So that's why I said it's very important to communicate and have a really good, not relationship with them, but trying to have ideas to bring into the classroom to help the students to become successful in the classroom. So, and again, at the whole point of being a teacher, especially when you're engaging with families, everybody is different. Every family is different. And this slide was supposed to be for another education, but I don't know what happened. So when you are working with a family, especially for a disabled family, sometimes there's a child may not. For example, I had an incident. One of the case study I had with a client was very nervous. He's very shy. He doesn't really know how to advocate for himself. So instead, he actually had his family to advocate for him. It was very hard for the teacher to really understand what was going on because I remember a teacher came up to me asking me for advice about the scenario and said, the child's very shy, but he's asking for him to advocate for him, but I don't know what to do in this scenario. So a lot of time when you are trying to advocate for a child, especially in the classroom space, when you're trying to be acceptable, you have to be conscious and mindful and be really um, up to date with a lot of things. I would say it could be time over time, especially in a classroom, and you're like, hey, how am I supposed to help this one child when you have 15 other students in the classroom, right? It can be very hard, it can be very challenging, but if you're really trying to make sure that the students can be the best they can be, my advice I told the teacher was actually, you can do the best you can do. You can't do so much if there's not enough support system in there, especially coming from the family. If you feel like, family is not really supporting the child in the classroom, if you feel like it, like for example, if you bring, I always tell teachers, follow up with families once a month, right? Sorry. I will follow up with family once a month just to find out what is happening and show the family the classroom. Ask them, do you think that we need to change anything in the classroom for the child to be acceptable? Have a very good conversation with the student. If you feel like the student is not advocating much for themselves in the classroom while the other kids are there, ask. Don't be afraid to ask a child. I know a child may not know what they want, but they may do know, and you'd be surprised how many does know. Like for me, when I became deaf at age of 4, which I'm gonna bring into the next slide, which is my journey as a student. I remember a teacher came up to me. I was in grade 4, and she literally asked me, she's like, "Kalina, like, what is it in the classroom that I need to change?" And I said, "Oh, no, Miss, I think when you are talking, I need you to face me while you're speaking because I'm a lip reader, by the way. So it's very important that we know how to accommodate a child's response. And for my journey as a student, it was very difficult, to be honest, because I didn't know how to advocate for myself, especially around other students. I was very shy too. I was nervous. I didn't know what to do because I thought I was going to be make fun of. And the reason for that is because I actually went to a deaf school in the morning, and then the afternoon I would go to the hearing school. So it was very different between the two, of course. I learned ASL when I was in the deaf school, and then when I went to the hearing school, I didn't learn my sign language. It was very hard for me to balance who I am as a person. And that's why I was telling everybody in the previous slide was that in order to help the student, especially in the classroom space, you want to make sure that the students are comfortable. Because it's very hard to juggle so many things as a disabled student. It's very hard. And you want to make sure the journey is smooth as possible for the students so that way they're not overwhelmed by so many things that's happening. And for me, I wish my teacher sit down with me and taught me about IEP, Independent Education Plan. My teacher never taught me what this was. I had no idea about IEP. I was very confused, and until I didn't really get into learning about independent education plan until when I was in grade 6, unfortunately. And I remember again, I she went through it with me, but I didn't really understand it. And I wish she sat down with me and taught me because she was talking a lot about the classroom. And that was something I didn't really fully understand because there were certain things I did not need, and there were certain things I didn't know or understand. And she literally just wrote things for me and didn't even ask me what my accommodation was. What did I needed help with in the classroom? She didn't ask for those. And it was difficult for me to really learn what was going on in the classroom. And it was difficult for me to make friends. It was difficult for me to participate in activities. And it was very hard for me to do activities, especially gym. A lot of time when we play basketball, it's not very acceptable for me because of so many whistle and so many, like, it's just a lot, like a buzzer, like it was a lot. And so I wish my teacher came up to me and asked me, what is it that bothered you when you are doing activities, especially in the gym or even in the classroom as well? What did it bother you? What is it that we need to do better? And I wish my teacher knowledge about my disability instead of just learning it from somewhere else. So that's why the very first thing is think about disability. Who do you know that had disability? Learn about it. And as a teacher, it can be hard to balance so many things all at once. But if you can just take 5 minutes of your time to learn about a child's disability or even connecting with the child maybe once a week, just to follow up with them and say, is this classroom okay for you? Do you feel like you need to have a change? If truly and realistically, if you really want your classroom to be acceptable for all the students, you need to have an open-minded conversation with your student, daily basis. Even just if for example myself, I remember a teacher came to me and I put up my hand and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was used to sit in the middle of the classroom. I would not sit at the front of the classroom. I would not, because it would be too loud for me. And I remember she's like, "Are you okay sitting there?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good here." So just a little checkup with students to see how it is. And again, it's really dependent on every child what their disabilities are. And just so you know, had a teacher who worked with disabled child. I just wanted to say something. I just want to say you matter. It's very important that you do take care of your health, because it's not always easy working with a disabled child. It can be challenging. There's some days, there's good days, there's bad days. But I do want you to know that you matter, because at the end of the day, a disabled child is always with you more than a child with their parent. So it's very important that you do take care of your mental health, and also learn how to balance both life and professional life, and join any healthy community as well. But again, if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of other people as well? It's very important that you do take care of yourself. And yeah, so if you have any questions, or you can put in the chat. Um, and yeah, so you can always contact me through email, which is info@cleanempowerment.com, or my LinkedIn, or my website. And if you are someone who is curious about reading a book about what it's like to be deaf, I also have my own book as well. You can find it on Amazon. It's called Every Day I Am Just Deaf. It's really a poetry book about me being deaf daily basic, and just really understanding what it is that we have to do better for someone who is deaf. But yeah, so I would check in the chat now to see if anybody have any questions or anything like that.
Yeah, if there are any questions, please do well to put them in the chat. Also, you can unmute your mics to ask the questions if you don't want to put them in the chat. Thank you. Okay, I think I have a question for Kalina.
Mhm.
Okay, so some of the applications that we get to build, we notice that based on the user's need, there are times whereby we need to build the solutions to be able to be accessible by users with some certain types of impairment, maybe visual impairment, hearing impairment. There is a need to actually build applications for some of these type of users. So have you come in contact with any sort of application that was actually quite useful for anyone with any form of disability?
Yeah, so there's a lot of the application that you can use for closed captioning, or speech to speech, because I know some people who cannot speak as well, especially different disabled. So there's a variety of platforms, like I said before, there's a lot of them that are improving slowly now. But if you are talking about hearing impairment, the great platform to use is Google Translation, because they usually have the Google Chat closed caption on it. Or I know it's a lot of time people don't know this, is that when you use closed caption on devices like this, sometimes it doesn't always pick up a lot of words that people are talking. It can be very hard for us to follow along. For example, Zoom, a lot of the closed caption doesn't always pick up compared to Google Meet. Google Meet can pick up a lot more closed caption than any other platform that I know.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I think I'll look into that in building some of the other applications so we can compare and contrast if what we are building is very quite close with the one of the Google Translate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, there's so many resources now that's happening. I heard that they are trying to improve. Um, so it's again, you have to test it out, and I will tell people, especially for students in the classroom, you always have to test it out. You always have to, because different devices can be good for some other students and then some others are not good for other students. So you really have to test it out.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So I think that brings us to the end of the session. It was a pleasure having you on board. Thank you so much. I've actually learned a lot about working with individuals with disabilities, and I think I would revisit the session. And if your slides are available, also you could make them. You can share them with us so that we can keep following you.
Yeah.
So the links to um, Kalina's website and also the LinkedIn profile. I think I would check and I'll put in the chat so that we all can have connections with her. So thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Rachel, and I'm going to be introducing the section for Abesh and Marius, and they are going to be taking us through Power Pages. Is your Power Pages ready to rule in Marketplace with latest integration capabilities? And that's pretty awesome because we have Power Pages right now when you get the opportunity to actually build websites and do so many amazing things, especially on Dynamics and so many other platforms. So hi Abesh, hi Marius, if you can share your screen.
Hello, I hope Ambesh is already here now. I will ping him.
Okay. Okay, we're just going to wait a few minutes to see.
Yeah, hi, Rachel. So just to
Perfect.
give some insights because thank you, Ambase and Marius for adjusting because there are some time zone discrepancies, to be very honest, everyone, for your information. Because as we do, it's a power platform classmates. We are like you guys only, okay? To be very transparent, there are some time zone issues. That's why Ambesh and Marius is trying to adjust with us. And thank you so much for taking time to adjust with us. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to just highlight. And by the time Ambesh and all join, and thanks, Radkit, Rachel, and earlier, if you saw, we have other organizers. So just to give you guys insights, by the time they join, let me take time to introduce. If you guys can see, we have organizers, regional organizers. Okay, and who are supporting us in this event. If you can see here, just let me introduce. Rachel is also Microsoft MVP. You can see her here. And before, you just noticed Funso is supporting. Okay, so this is how you can also engage whenever you want. That's how I just want to introduce both our organizers also, even though they were not there in the main slide, but they are really supporting us in the backend also whenever required. Okay, great round of applause for them. Thank you so much. In that note, I just want to wait. Yeah, maybe Ambesh and Marius, you guys let us know once you are ready.
Ambesh should be here in a second. Yeah.
So
Hi.
I'm already in the call. We are in the call. We
Okay,
can start it
perfect.
actually.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and thank you for adjusting. And over to you, Ambesh and Marius. Yep.
Thank you so much. Gurnath. Sorry. Yeah, no problem. So there would be a cut for Marius, I think, but everything is fine. We will manage it at anyhow. And let me just bring it. I hope if my screen is shared, then we can start. Good.
Yes.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rachel. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Nice seeing you
Yeah.
here.
Nice to hear you too. So,
Yeah.
greetings everyone. We would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the entire Power Platform classmate teams for putting together the fantastic 2-day events. Your efforts are really truly appreciated. And now let's dive into the important question, that is your Power Pages ready to rule the marketplace with the latest integration capabilities? Let's welcome Marius, my friend and the co-speaker from Vienna. Marius, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself.
So yeah, hi, I'm Marius. Well, I'm with my first job still, so I'm with Evanate for 6 years now as a consultant, and I became MVP in customer experience lately. So I sometime discovered, okay, I should share my knowledge that I gained, and I'm not yet MVP in Power Pages, but what is not currently, maybe in the future. So I'm trying my best here to show you what we have in Power Pages. And the real Power Pages expert, over to you, Ambesh. Show us. We have.
Thank you. Thank you, Marius. Now I would like to briefly introduce myself here, and then we will start talking about the agenda for the session. So my name is Ambesh Singh. Currently, I'm working with Avnod Germany as a Dynamic 365 and a Power Platform Architect. Prior to that, I worked with the KPMG Deutschland, PSN View, EA Sports, and mostly in my career, I've worked with the Microsoft in the different product groups, global consultings, and the deliverables. And I'm also the mentor and ambassador for the 365 Saturdays, and now it's called the Power Community. I love to speak and share my learnings around the Azure, Power Platform, Dynamic 365, and the Copilot topics. Today we will learn about the Power Pages, how the Copilot boosts the site building process to make the website quickly available to the market, how we can integrate the customer-facing websites with the AI-driven chatbots, integration with the payment gateway, and automate everything with the 1400 plus connectors, because all the things are really important. Push your websites where you can connect with the multiple data sources, multiple tools and applications. This is important. So you just put all of the checkboxes when your website is ready for the market. And if you have all the capabilities into that one, then it's really good. Same times, you also need your website need a AI-driven chatbots. So that is also important, because you want to give a facility to your users to get, like, they can answer questions, any kind of the queries around their business needs, around their personal settings and the configuration, and so other things, and the bot should be able to respond them. So all the functionality, you will get it very quickly, and we will show you in the demos also that how quickly you can spin up all the things. We are not saying that in the 1 hour you can build the website, customer facing website, and you can deploy the whole website to the market, but yes, you can at least start by preceding all of the headaches in when and how you can integrate, how you manage all of the authentication things, where you deploy, and a lot of the other problems, I would say, or the overheads, what you need to do when you build any of your website for the customer facings, and you just go and make it available to the marketplace. Now, basically, let's start with the Power Pages. So we know the Power Pages allow us to create the low-code, no-code website for our customers or the internal organizations. And the motto behind the idea is make it simple. And with the portals are actually extending the capabilities of the Dataverse and the Dynamic 365 applications, the full capabilities of the Power Pages. And previously, we know it offered as an add-on to the model-driven apps in the Dynamic 365, and then it called as a Power Up components, as a Power Up portals, and now available as a completely standalone inside of the Power Platform as a new vertical there. These capabilities features are revamped end-to-end experience for the makers, to quickly create and deploy the website, and customize it. Basically, you can use the pages, layouts, content, and the best part is the makers can reuse the page designs throughout the templates. They can add the form, they can add the chart, they can add the views to display the key data from the Dataverse and publish to the users. And all of these things, they don't have to do a lot of reworks, because those things are already available for your model-driven app, as in as in forms, as in charts, as in views there. So you don't have to rework everything from the scratch. Also, we can avoid the common web development challenges when we use the Power Pages. So the first thing is, we always find a difficulty finding between, balance between the functionality and the simplicity, because the more functionality we will push, we are losing somewhere, or we trade off somewhere with the simplicity when when we are using any of the product. Second thing, we can onboard onto the products, which generally takes a lot of time because you firstly create an architectures, you just or you discuss with your all of the blueprints that okay, where authentication need to be done, how it need to be done, how we can do the integration, what kind of the platform we have to use, how we can make it scalable, how we can integrate, and we can extend it to the different platforms or the different different tools and the application, and everything is gone out here because you can do this with the low code no code development environment. Also the product positioning is confusing for the customer sometimes, so you don't need to tell about the Dataverse story and differentiate from the Power App, then model driven apps or the Canvas app. And sometimes it is a customer pain point and many frictions points related with the UX and like a UX or the user experience, and completing basic tasks or the poor responsiveness is also makers experience, they felt a lot of time. Most of the customer don't have the skills, time or budget basically to obtain the custom coding web development skills, because when you go to your customers, they are using the Dynamics 365 or the CRM because they don't want to build everything from the scratch, like their own customer relationship models from the scratch. And they trusted on like a kind of the PaaS platform or the SaaS, like a product which go as an or the platform as a service or software as a service platforms, because they don't want to invest it everything from the infrastructure as a service. They don't have the budget, they don't have a time, and nowadays nobody want to wait it because everybody said that okay, we have a money and we had a set of goals, how quickly you can deliver this. That's all. They don't bother much about that lot of the low code engineering discussions and so on. They need the results which need to sustain to the market as per the market standards, and then the Power Pages provide all of you these things. Also, makers struggle to find the information how to leverage the portal for the business purpose. So this is at some point of time is also the kind of the customer pain point, which everything can be resolved it out by using the Power Pages. Now, I would like to show the concise summary of the benefit for the Power Pages. So the first thing, it's a low code website building. So Power Pages enables everyone to create an external facing business website worldwide using the low code techniques. So you don't have to really write a lot of code, and especially now, Microsoft pushed the Power FX. So at some point of time, you have less dependency on the Liquid template now. Because Liquid or working with the Liquid, probably I won't call it's low code. It's probably the pro code things, but the Microsoft is removing the dependencies from there. I'm not saying that Power FX replace the Liquid, but who know the futures? Like maybe in a couple of years from now, you see that everything what you can do with the Liquid templates, you can do with the Power FX as well. It's just a beginning. And then the second thing is you can design and launch the engaging website in the minutes without any coding required. We will start a new website from the scratch, and then we'll see how quickly you can spin up that. Also, you can manage all of the site through a convenient dashboards. You don't need to think about where you will get all of the insight about your websites, their performance, their issues and everything. And this meets the rigorous security and the compliance requirement as well. So there's always a consideration that it's not just an external facing website and there is no security or any kind of the compliance guidelines meet that. So it's always meet with all of those guidelines. Also, it empowers the developers with the advanced web design tool to evaluate or to basically elevate your Power Pages. A lot of people said that okay, these are the low code no code platforms, so there is very less for the developers, but this is not true. So the more you involve the developer, the more you can customize and enhance it. You will get a basic workable website without the developers probably, but if you need really a fully functional website with a lot of the capabilities, at some point of time you need to onboard the developers. And for Power Pages, there is a lot of things for the pro developers also there. So it's not just a low code no code centric tools or the offering from the Microsoft. And as I said, like you can do the seamless integration with the dashboards, document sharing, chatbot automation, and more with the Power Platform with the other Microsoft services. You can integrate with the Azure components, you can integrate with the AI components, and so on. This is all available there. Now let's start with the Copilot. So as you know, the Copilot is an AI-powered tool from the Microsoft Power Platform that guide you through a complete app creation process. So it uses the generative AI and the best practices to create the suggestion based on the data and the preference what you put it as a natural languages there. Copilot also combines the capabilities of the large language models, the LLM, with the business data residing in the Microsoft Business applications to transform your natural language prompts into the powerful productivity tool. It also designed to streamline, the development process and enhance the intelligence to your application. Not only this, the Copilot also, the Copilot and the generative AI features is a Microsoft Power Platform and the Microsoft 365, which help you to build the application flows and the chatbot, which analyze your data, summarize the information, and at some point of time, it reply to the messages that generate the idea and more. However, these features are not available in all the regions and the languages, so please always keep your eyes. Like an example, your browser need to be in the English-based language. If you are using the German or French or something, then probably it won't work. So this is an right now. What happened in the future is nobody know, but right now you can't do this. Let's have a quick video. Is the volume audible for everyone, or I would just share with the volume quickly?
No, actually, I think you have to share it.
Okay, then just give me a second. Let me just go quickly to my stop sharing and then share it again with including sound. Yeah, now it is there. Just give me a hint if it is not with the volume.
Is revolutionizing how you build and launch data-centric websites for your business. With Copilot and Power Pages, you can speed up website building with natural language content generation, including forms, text, and images in minutes. Meet Yuri, a business analyst at Woodgroup Bank who's launching a new student loan program. Currently, creating a new program is a tedious and error-prone process that involves designing a form, translating it into tables and columns, and manually coding it into the website. Let's explore how Copilot and Power Pages can accelerate this process and streamline Yuri's workflow. Yuri begins with a pre-built template site within the Design Studio, where they're introduced to the new Copilot experience. Their initial request is to modernize the homepage to make the site more appealing to the target audience. Copilot ensures that Yuri retains control throughout the process, while presenting them with suggestions and options to review, adjust, and make changes accordingly. They are pleased to see that the page now has a more contemporary and visually appealing look and feel. Thanks to Copilot, Yuri no longer needs to write the text for the site or search for inspiration elsewhere. Copilot works as a digital copy editor and can generate content within seconds based on basic descriptions. Yuri can easily adjust the message, tone, or length with one click or entering specific instructions. The next task is to add a loan application form to the site's application page. After selecting the form component, Copilot prompts them with a dialog that simplifies the process of creating a student loan application form using natural language. Within minutes, Yuri has a starter form that they can further customize by adding, removing, or editing fields. Once the form is added to the application page, Power Pages automatically generates a table to store form submissions securely in Dataverse. Yuri can continue to refine the form even after it's added to the canvas. Next, Yuri wants to create an FAQ page to provide students with comprehensive information about the program. With Copilot, creating an FAQ page has become much simpler. They can ask Copilot to generate the page and then refine it to perfection using the tool. Additionally, Yuri can activate the chatbot on the site for simplified information retrieval. As a maker, they no longer need to brainstorm topics alone. With Power Pages' Copilot chatbot feature in the setup workspace, they can easily select the desired web page and activate the chatbot toggle. This enables the AI-powered bot to appear on the student loan page, delivering responses to applicants' questions based on the available information across the site. Amazing, right? This is just the beginning. We're reimagining productivity and revolutionizing website development with upcoming Power Pages AI capabilities, such as page creation, site theming, and image generation, among others. The future of low-code website development is here. Imagine it, describe it, Power Pages will help you build it.
Isn't it wonderful? So just a disclaimer here, the video is 1 year old and now you get a lot of the other feature which was proposed there, like you can create your whole page or the website by using the Copilot and you can generate the themes. Images probably not as directly, but those features are already available and we will show you in the demo like how you can do this. Now let's back to the to the slide. So you can save a lot of time by creating the pages with the natural languages. You can just describe your purpose of the page that, okay, you want to build your website, something like that, or blah, blah, blah. And automatically it generates truly intelligent HTML layout for you. Remember, it generates the HTML layout. So if you are thinking that it have a lot of buttons there or the links there and it should have a navigation, no, it won't work. It is a pure HTML content by wrapping the CSS on the top of that. So it's not the fully functional website you just think about, just write some lines and then you will get a fully functional website. No, don't go in that impression. Also, it simplify your building process. So you can automatically generate the tables, in the Microsoft Dataverse, you can create the correspondence forms on your pages, adjust it, and you can do all of the fine tunings with the fields on the form using the natural languages input. We already probably, or you already know that we already started doing with the Power Apps or the other platforms like a Dataverse. You can already do this. Also, you can leverage the power of the natural language input and the intelligent suggestions basically for the unparalleled efficiency. So you can transform the simple description into the text content and reduce the deployment time. You can also use the natural languages input to adjust the messages. You can adjust the tone. You can adjust the length. If effectively with the click of just a specific instruction. What is not possible till that with the current release and might be added in the future, when I have no idea. So the first example, you cannot move, remove, or reorder the pages in the sitemap with the prompts. You can also not add the buttons that navigate to the different pages. You cannot rename the pages. You can also not add the lookup field there, or as well as you cannot add the logo there. So these features are not available there. It might be shipped with the upcoming releases there. Now let's a quick demo. And for that, I would really like to show my browser. Just give a thumbs up or say anything if it is visible so I can just show
It's
what we can
visible.
do it here. Thank you, Marius. Where I would like to start. So maybe I would start with the mix.pages.microsoft.com, which is a home page for the Designer Studio. Here you will get a text boxes, and there it clearly mentioned describe the site you want and let AI create the first draft. So I have few prompts there, like develop a site for the project management, design a website for the employee training. I can refresh and then it can probably load different different prompts, design a website for the government services, create a site for the business license application. I can pick it anything, or as well as I can write my own free text here. So what I'm saying, uh, create a website. Typo is okay. Create a website for Power Platform School, or maybe the classmate. Classmates and accept event registrations. As I said, typo is totally okay. So if you have a typo, you can leave it like this and just click enter. Now what it is doing, it is trying to create all of those, like it's fetch all of those, all of your information, and it give me the site name. You can change it. Then it provide me the site web URL, also like a web address. If you want, you can change it. So example, I just change it. It should be available or not. You will get, now it is available. You can rate it. If you want to provide any feedback, you can do this, and then you can click on the next. Now, the wonderful thing you see here, the website has been generated with some of the themes or the branding around that. If you like, you can use any of them. If you don't like, you can simply go and click on the try again. For the time's sake, I'm not trying to research there. The best part is it provides you all of the pages or the separate pages which probably a website required. So you need a about us, you need a contact us, you need a FAQ page, you need a resources where you can put all of the events information and so on. You need a gallery for the pictures, videos, and so on, as well as you need a separate event page where all the event information would be displayed. If you want, you can uncheck also at any of them. You don't need to select all of them. You can go with the one also. For now, I have used all of them because I can easily remove it from my designer, from the sitemap editor. I just click on OK, and then it is saying, yeah, we are setting up a new site for you. It might take a couple of seconds to the minute. Let it generate there, and then let me just wait for maybe 5 seconds. If it won't work, I will just quickly go to my slide and then I will come back on there once it will be generated. So ideally take around a couple of seconds to maybe 2 to 5 minutes. Because this is the developer environment, it's not a production environment. So I would expect that, okay, this might take a couple of minutes, like 2, 3, 5, but I won't stop here. I would just quickly go to my slide and I will come back to here yeah, it's worked now. So it saved actually one shift and getting the things
Ambesh,
ready.
sorry for interruption. Actually, I have basic question, couple of questions. Okay, so if I create any Power Page, so we can search in publicly on any browser, or we need we have some restriction. If I create any I'm using Google product also, so I create any site, okay, so I can search publicly also. If I have URL, so I can search and I click and publicly and use without user credential. Okay, if I have URL, so we can do in Power Pages also. Yeah, within within organization we can use Power Pages.
Yeah, true. So maybe Marius, do you want to answer this? So the answer is yes, but Marius, if you would like to add something here.
So I think to make it so you can make it public, right? To find it on Google simply. That's in the setup things. You can set the page to public, and then it's just on the internet. And then there is the other thing with internal users, for example, you can use, from the security. It's in, you're right, it's in security, right? It has moved. But in security, you can also here site visibility to make it public. And then you have 1 point above. There is this identity providers, which you can use to create a login for internal members of your organization. So maybe, there is no public content on this webpage.
Okay.
To do that.
What I will do, Surinder, I will just paste a link here on the chat window. Okay. And what just Marius mentioned, I just echo the same thing. Now you can access this site over the Google, like now, definitely I just created, so you won't get it on the SEO and the Google searches, but maybe down the time you can get it. This one, the thing is that now you can access it. So what I can access, you can also access the same thing here without any problem. The click here, whenever you create the site, it always private for the intention, because if you create something, you would like to do some activities there. You just don't want to push what you just filled as a raw data there. So this is there, and now you can, as I mentioned, now you can look into that one. You can play around there. You can't do anything because there is nothing there which you can do, but you can play around and it is available. So just one click and now the site is available for you. So now you can see how easy it is to build a site, a customer facing website, and put it to the public, public users or the public end users for that one.
It might take another 5 minutes until it has really got that it's public. But
first time it boot up, so that is totally fine, because it need to warm up everything. The moment you click it, it go and deploy it, like it go with all of this web apps, and it make all of the entries there. It probably make some entries in a lot of the Azure artifacts, but the thing is that you can do this. But as I mentioned, like you can do this. I want to stop here because we have a time crunch. So maybe I will answer all of your open questions at the end, because Marius has to jump out on the sharp 12 o'clock from our time. So we have less time. So I just need to quickly finish it. Now you can see, like, I have a public facing website, which is available. You can customize the things here. You can go to any of the pages and do whatever you want there. How? I went to the site visibility quickly to show you, but now you see the site. So if I am not satisfied with the page design, I can just quickly click it here. And on the page design, I can say create a new page. So I can actually create a new page here, create a page for frequently asked question. I already have created a page, how the customer, and maybe share a company background. So I just choose the third option. You can write your own text here, and you just need to wait for a couple of seconds, and then it should be good. 1 sec. Now you can say the page has been already generated, and those page will be available for you. So it says there is a problem, but you can retry it and you can generate it again. So maybe I can just go and click it again and it would retry. So right now I just created the page. As I said, it might need some time to deploy everything to the every endpoints and every stuff. So it might take time, but this is a way you can generate a new pages there. And okay, I have generated the page and they said, look, the page has been generated. I can keep it. I can delete it. So I want to keep it. And now you see a new page has been added, which called the OS story. And then you can put the content here. So the Copilot doesn't end here. You can generate the page. You can then click it here and you can do a lot. So if you want, you can change the color theme. So I have, create a color theme and then it would generate a color theme. You can say, okay, I need a especially summer blue vibes or something. Then you can get it. I'm trying to change it and then see how does it work. So it look really, really odd for me. And I have an option here to just change or undo the themes there. Otherwise, you can generate the more themes. So this is also, you can do this by using the Copilot. The another important thing, our story. So discover our journey. And what I'm trying to do here, I just use the Copilot to rewrite this content. And it is creating a text for me. Explore our adventure and something like that. And I can replace this with the proper theme. I can rewrite this by clicking on the rewrite button. I can change the tones. I can change the length of, I can rewrite. I can change the tone from friendly, casual, educational, professional, excited. Make it shorter, make it longer. So I just say, okay, you want to make it longer because I just don't want to go with the 3 words, but I probably need a whole sentence. And you can add more detail with the Copilot. So if you click on here, you will get a Copilot and then you can do this. So I just click it there and now it replaces the whole, whole text with that one. So this is how you change the text inside that. Plus also you can add a section, and this section you can also add with the Copilot. So you can add a section on the page, you can change the themes, you can change, you can create a new pages. Then you can also generate the text. You can do a lot of things with the Copilot. This is the first demo which I would like to show you. Now quickly go to the slide and now talk about the Gen AI chatbots. Basically, you can seamlessly add the Microsoft Copilot chatbot with the generative answer to your website via a simple experience in the setup workspace. So you can configure your chatbot with out of box with no additional authoring. You can enable your website visitor to ask the natural languages questions, and they can receive a concise response completely with the relevant link back. And this feature, the Copilot chatbot features in the Power Pages provide you an easy way to configure even a cheap GPT-powered AI response chatbot for your website. I'm not sure which engine they are using. It's a 3.5 or they already started using 4. But 3.5 is at least there that I know. Now also the bot enhance the interaction experience for the website users by enabling them to ask the questions in the natural language, NL questions, and you can receive the summarized responses with the relative links. As I mentioned, you can also this experience basically allow the site users to get all of the necessary information available on your whole website. And as I mentioned, it is not only limited to your website, like for example, through the FAQs or the knowledge articles, what you have provided there, but also you can extend it. So the bot can go and search the results from outside of your website also, like from example, from the Bing search or so on. This you have to configure because the moment you include a bot here, the bot will go and create. Let me just finish this and then I will come for the quickly demo. The another is the branding matters because as I mentioned, this is a customer facing website. So what Copilot generated for you out of box or what Microsoft provided you out of box, you don't want to go in a market with that theming. Probably you need your own company or organization brand. So you can customize the appearance of the AI chatbots in the Power Pages site by enhancing, the user experience of the bot users, basically bot for the website users. Also, to do so, you have to override the default cascading style sheet. If you worked as a developer, you know what are the CSS classes. So you can add your style text on the header template, and you have to basically follow a couple of the steps here. So you can go to the site editor. You can then, from Explorer navigation, you expand the website template folder, or you even search for the header.html on the search bar, and then you get a header.html file. You can go and add the style tag and then you can override the respective CSS. How you can do this? Let's have a demo for that one quickly. So I have this site, and for this, just to avoid, because firstly, I have to enable the chatbot. So let me quickly preview this. And right now, this is not a site which I was expecting, the sync. And let's preview it again. I think this is there. Yeah, this is there. So right now you can't see the chatbot here on the bottom. So there are a couple of steps what you have to do. Firstly, you have to go to the Power Platform Admin Center. You have to go to the settings, and in the settings, you have to firstly search for the setting for Publish Copilot with the AI features. Right now it is enabled. If it is not enabled, you have to enable this. This is the first step. Then you go to your Designer Studio, and in the Designer Studio, you go to the Security, the new tab which has been added recently, like in the last couple of months now. And with this, basically, there are a couple of steps. So you can go to the advanced settings. You can make some of the changes there, but let's quickly go to the setup and firstly enable that one. It's quite slow, but just bear with me for a couple of more seconds. I don't want to go to the security. Let me try some hacks there. Yeah, I want to leave it. Let me refresh this. Yes, I'm editing the, because I made the site public. So whenever I try to edit something, it says, yeah, I want to, it gave a warning message and I confirmed, yes, I want to. So here you will get add Copilot here at the bottom in the setup. And once you are there, you have two toggles to enable. Let it load, and then I will show you quickly. So one toggle is already enabled. The second toggle is enable Copilot on this side. You just enable it. You don't have to do anything here, and that's all done. It might take a couple of seconds to the minutes sometimes. And now if I just go and sync again, then you will see some changes on the website landing page. Let's sync it, and then after syncing, let me preview it. So let it load properly, and then I will just preview it back here. So I just click on the preview. This is the beauty of the live demo, but please bear with me because this can be anticipated. There might be a couple of maybe system performance or something you might need to bear. And let me drag it from here to there. Okay. Let me refresh it back. Edit the site, preview, and otherwise I have to do the refresh here, and I would anticipating there would be a chatbot icon on the bottom. So now you can see there's a chatbot icon, and you can open this and you can ask the question directly, like, sorry for the bold letters, but hello. And then the bot has started replying to you. So this is what you can achieve it with just few clicks. But as I said, this doesn't look as per the theme here. What I did, just to save the time, I just quickly did all of this stuff which I mentioned. Like I opened this on the code, I just searched for the header.html, and I put the style tag with a lot of the classes there. These classes you can get it on the Microsoft documentation, or you can just ping me. I can give you the URL and even the complete code for that one. So you just put it the CSS to the style tag in the header.html. Once you refresh, you will see the changes directly like this. So now you see the header has been changed. There's a bubble. So if there are two bubbles basically, so one bubble is for the bot and the second bubble is from the user perspective. So if user types something unable to connect because it was already opened, I need to refresh it. So if you just keep your website open and the bot is ideal for the long term, then it disconnect basically with the services. So you have to then just put it there. And now if I just type, okay, now it is started. So there are two bubbles, like one from the user, second one is from basically from the bot itself. There's a header, there's a complete canvas, there's a text box, and then you have some kind of the message or the information window. And if I can show you the code there, you will see all of the classes there. Like an example, this is for the bot. This is their header. So if you want to change the header example from there to somewhere to this color, just check it and let me save it. And meanwhile, I will go with the other classes. So let me save and let me sync back this. So it has started syncing. So I can refresh and show you again, but let again quickly go to, and then you have a bubble. So you have a bubble from the users and you have a bubble from the bot itself. Then you have a lot of classes from the links and so many other things. Then you have some classes, for the tooltip text, you have a chat like a privacy message, which I shown you at the bottom. So you have all of these classes available, and you can extend with your all of the CSS, however, whatever you want it there. Let me just try to refresh it and see if this header has been changed. So just give me a try. Sometime I need to delete the caches and the cookies for there, but let it try. Hopefully it should be visible, and then we know how to make the changes in the branding basically for the bots. It's loading, and it loaded now. So now you see the header CSS or the header background color has been already updated. Initially it was blue, and now it converted to the yellow, orange or something. So this is all from my side. And now I would like to ask Mayus if you can continue with the payment gateway and the Power Platform integrations, please.
Thanks, Ambesh. Yeah, payment gateways. I mean, if we talked about marketplace, so we need to take payments, right? And of course, you can integrate payments to any website, but now there is a native way with Power Pages to do it. And it's really simple. You just install a package from Microsoft, then you configure the payment provider, which is Stripe, in the Designer Studio. And then you integrate that into a multi-step form. So a multi-step form could be you select your products, and then you enter your details, and in the end you get a payment screen where you pay. And yeah, that's with Stripe. That's really easy. Yes, we will first go with the other one. And the second thing we wanted to show is Power Automate here with Power Pages, because Power Automate has so many connectors. Here, I think this is official from the docs, like 1,400 connectors that you can use to really enrich your site with information. And even the 1,400, this is not the end, because of course with Power Automate you can do custom connectors as well. So if you have a specialized system that basically only you use in your company, and there is no external connector, then you can just do the connector on your own if that system has an API, so an HTTP API that you can just call. As my sample for this is something like an inventory control system. Usually this is something specialized that you wouldn't do in Dataverse maybe, and you still want to show on the product page, okay, how many do we have in stock of this product? Then you can do this with a flow that calls via custom connector, or if it's a more common thing, maybe there is a connector that calls for the inventory of that product and displays it on the page. And yeah, demo time, I will take over the screen so we can really look what happens here. So for payment, thanks. For payment integration, I am in the Designer Studio here, so I will go with setup. And of course, I've prepared it because, so in external apps, you can see this Stripe integration, which is our payment provider. And first you have this install button, takes around 5 minutes to install, at least in my testing. And then after it installed, you have this manage button here. So first thing, it takes you to the Stripe marketplace. And here you need to set up the app. So usually there's an install app button here, but it's already installed. Took a couple seconds. And then if we manage this app, you get here to the Microsoft Power Pages Payments app in Stripe, and then you have view API keys, and we need the publishable key and the restricted key. They start with PK and RK, so it's really easy to differentiate them. And we need both keys to put them here. Publishable key and the restricted key is the secret key, so that's a secret. Also here we have only supports test mode because Dataverse is not a good store for secrets like the secret key. So if you want to go with production, you need to have an Azure subscription with the Azure keyboard. Fortunately, the Azure Key Vault is almost free. So at least for if you are using just secrets like we need here, the operations are, yeah, they are really cheap. It's in cents maybe. So I've copied over the keys, and with that set up, we can go to our site where we actually buy something. So here is a multi-step form we can see here. We just put in a name, and you can basically choose what you pay for the event. So you enter your total amount. And then with the multi-step form, let's go to step 2, the payment step. And you can already see here there's the credit card, but what this is configured here in the step settings. You have the app integrations, and then you can say enable digital payments, yes, and you choose basically the field where you enter the total amount. So if you think about a quote, the field would be, I think, called the same. It's still total amount, and you first calculate your quote, and then in the next step you go to the payment and choose this field so that in the back end the field is correct by the time you make the payment. So then I have pre-opened the page this time to make it a little quicker. So let's go to the buy ticket. Oh, it apparently locked me out in the meanwhile. Okay, and then I can give it any name. And any amount. And then if I go to next, I will get to the payment step. So, and as always, I forgot Stripe test cards. I need one of the test cards. So in test mode, they have here a list of cards that will be accepted no matter what I enter here. I just think I need an expiration in the future. And then I can say pay now, and it will take a couple seconds. No, I don't want to save this. And then it says here, the payment of 99 euros was successfully processed, and we have a payment ID here, and I can finally submit to finish the process. So in Stripe, we can also see this with like here. So I am at dashboardstripe.com, and then I chose developers here in the test mode because we are testing right now. And then under events, we can see exactly the payment. Oops, sorry, I didn't want to go there. But we can see here the payment. So this is when the session was created at 49:05, and at 49:34, the payment was really done. So that was my Stripe thing. I have a full payment now, and here my submission was successful. So if I have a real price calculation, of course, that would be more for a shop. You wouldn't enter your details. No, instead you would choose products, and then you would get to the site after you enter some more details. So where to ship, where you get this payment presented. And it's much easier with this integration than building it by foot. Because if you do it by foot, yeah, you need to implement a lot of things for creating the session, handling it, returning back to the site, and handling those events. So Stripe has, similar to Dataverse, you can hook into events that are happening. And in this case, you would need to save somewhere in Dataverse the payment ID, right? And then correlate it when the event of the successful payment happens in Stripe. Then you would need to update the record in the Dataverse. And that's just much simpler with this ready-made integration. So, and then the other thing I would like to show you is I mentioned like this sample of inventory system Power Automate. There is a trigger called Power Pages, and this trigger even allows for inputs from our page. And just to run you down this simple sample here, we just composed here hello from and then the given location, and then return it back into to the Power Page. So we have here a location, an output, and then in the Power Page, let's go back to the Design Studio. Under Setup, you will find Cloudflows. And here you can add a Cloudflow. So for example, in other, it does not show me anything anymore because it will only list the ones which have the Power Pages trigger. So of course there are in my environment more flows, but none of them is with the Power Pages trigger. And then let me edit this one. We can add roles which are allowed to execute this one. So especially I think anonymous and authenticated are important. Because yeah, some things you don't want your anonymous users to be able to execute, and you get a URL, and this is important. We will need that. So, and next on the Contact Us page. So we need to call this flow now, right? It's available now to call. So we just put this button here on the Contact Us page. And if we take a look at this button, so this is the submit button, we added an on-click listener, and here I put in the URL which I got from the setup thing. So we have URL is something with Cloudflows and then an ID at the end. Then I push in the location in a data property, and this data is enclosed in another property called event data, and then we can post this so as a post request to the web page with this URL, so our page /_API Cloudflow and so on. Important because it's right now wrong in the documentation. The content type needs to be application JSON. But yeah, I just push in as the thing was named in the trigger, and I get it out in something called output. So just like I called it in the flow, I had an output property, and I can read this output property once the request is done. So let's take a look. I push in Vienna always here because I am right now sitting in Vienna. So let's go to the Contact Us page. Click on Submit. And there we go, hello from Vienna. So because we pushed in Vienna and it composed it with hello, we get this output. So I can quickly show you 8 seconds ago. Here we go with our input to the Power Automate flow. And here you see the location Vienna I put in, and yeah, the output was hello from Vienna. Some things that are also available here is the site URL and user ID. These might be interesting for you because especially the user ID might be relevant if you want to do more authorization than just, okay, he needs to be logged in, right? Maybe you have something like you need to retrieve the orders from somewhere that is not like you don't do it with simple fetch XML or the web API of Power Pages, but it's a little bit more complicated. You want to do it with a flow, but you only want the user to see their own orders, and the whole authorization here needs to be handled. Then the user ID can help you a lot because you can filter, okay, only give me orders based on this user. And if it's maybe a third-party system, okay, first by the user ID, you query out the user, get some ID or name or email address that is in the other system, and then query there with that information. And I guess that's it. We have like 3 minutes left for questions, I guess, or first.
Yeah, I will just quickly give a closer. So thank you again. Thank you, Guleknath. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Marius, for the wonderful demo. And thank you everyone again for your valuable time. So if there is any further detailed discussion needed, feel free to reach out to us via LinkedIn. And for the latest features, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where me and Marius produce a lot of content around the new features and upcoming features. Share the link with your friends and the colleagues and let us know in the comment like which episode you would like to watch next. Like if you would like to see something around the security, something around the integration and other integration capabilities, do let us know about that one. And apart from that, your feedback is about the session is also really, really important. So event is truly valuable to us, and there always a room of the improvement or room for the improvement and maintaining the the continuity. What the positive aspect is essential. So we are sincerely appreciate your input. So please scan the code and provide your feedback to us. And that note, we are closing the session, but we are open now for quick 3-minute questions. So because Marius has to leave in the next 3 minutes, but I will be available there. So if you have any question, please unmute yourself and you can ask it. I can quickly look to the chat if there is any question, but you can unmute now. So please ask your question.
Now you scared everyone.
No, I'm not that scary, to be honest. Like any kind of the question, like it is not just related with the Power Pages, but if you have any question around the Power Platform, Copilot, AI 365, we are here to answer you. Best of our, Okay, Priyesh is also going to join. So best of our experience and the knowledge. Let's see.
Hey, hi, this is Nilesh. Sorry, actually, I'm speaking on mute.
No worries, Nilesh.
So the question is to Marius regarding the payment gateway. So let's say is one scenario. I am the user. Okay, I booked the one ticket XYZ and the quantity is like 20. And when I hit the button on the submit to make the payments, so how the validation happened for the debit card or credit card on the server level? So I would enthusiastic on this particular perspective because that whatever the debit card digit, how it's matching in the cloud side. So that is my question.
Marius, if you don't mind, I can answer because you have to leave in 1 minute. So I'm not sure you have sufficient time or not.
If you have the answer.
Nilesh, yeah. So the answer for that one, this is a headache of the payment providers. It is not as a developer our headache or anything we have to deal with the Power Platform developer's perspective or the Power Pages developer perspective, because payment providers, as I said, we integrated that one. If you integrate any other payment providers also, they have to validate like is it Visa card, it's Amex, or it is a basically MasterCard. What kind of the card is that valid? Is all of the whatever you provide like a kind of the OTP and the other information, those are relevant or not? This is basically taken care from the payment providers, not us. We don't validate anything at our end. You can consume the services for the validation, but I don't think so it is required as a Power Pages developers that we have to validate this. This is a job of the payment providers, right? How they are doing this, we don't have any access for their code base, and nobody would like to share with us. But there are APIs by which you can validate, the authentication and the authority of the credit cards. So this is quite possible if you want to validate this. But as I said, we don't have to do this. I hope it answers you.
I would agree. If Stripe says the payment is successful and complete, we can assume it is successful and complete.
So here you explain Stripe. Stripe is a payment gateway, right? Am I right? Okay.
Yeah, true, Surinder. So Stripe is basically what right now is available with the out-of-box integrations. If you want, you can go with any kind of other providers also, or the integrations. But as I mentioned, like you don't have to. So Stripe is available there. You can play around with that. If you want to, then you need to make some of the customization, because then probably it's not that much of easy that you just hook that one and everything has been taken care just out of box. Then might be you need to involve with some of your development capabilities for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Understand.
Okay. There are a couple of questions from Palash. I think, thanks for outstanding session. Okay, thank you. Can we configure monthly payments? Let's say service-based contract. You can trigger it, Palash. Like if you say that you need to automatically generate the payment without any user intervention, you can automate the whole process. So instead of you are filling the information inside, you can automate this via the UI automation or by extending, with the scripts. So you can automate this, and then it will automatically go there. But I wondered, like for the service provider, you don't pay via Stripe integration because there's a different mechanism what service provider asks you to pay. This is more the marketplace thing. So in the marketplace, we go with the other way around. Just to let you know, where the customer need to pay some amounts every month. So where the customer need to pay some amounts every month. Okay, I don't get your question. Like if you can unmute and ask, so
If
maybe I
it's
can
like a
answer you if you
recurring,
can.
like an
Yeah.
so like an
Yes, it's a recurring payment.
subscription.
It's a recurring payment. So for example, like there are a couple of things. One is whereby, so if you take any gym membership or any kind of
Yeah.
membership, right,
Mhm.
you have to pay an amount every month.
Mhm.
Right. So as long as you're active, you are supposed to pay. So for
Mhm.
that kind of recurring payments where the customer has to pay every month, how are we going to handle that kind of scenario?
Okay.
Because in
So
PayPal and I think in Stripe also, we have done it.
Mhm.
There is a specific parameter that you have to pass, whether it's a monthly or it's a one time, right? So I just need to know.
So at least because I have not explored it from the end user perspective or the full features there, what we saw from the test account or the test Stripe account, we don't find any recurring things. There are two options. You can make the recurring directly. You can trigger it from the Dataverse, like you can store the user's record and then you can recur it. But in that case, you have to go with all of the compliance thing because you are storing the user's financial information. So make sure you store it securely and then you are just pushing by passing these parameters to them. If it is taken care by the Stripe, then you don't need to bother about that one. But this is something I'm not aware about because we haven't done demo on that one. So we use the trial or the test environments for that. And in the test, we don't see any recurring for that one. So yeah, we can explore and we can get back to you if you really need it.
All right. Thanks, Ambesh. Thanks, Marius.
Okay. Thank you, Marius, just to extending another couple of minutes. But thank you again, everyone, to be in the call. And we are already now 3 minutes late from our schedule. So I will give it to the next speaker. And maybe I think Golaknath, you can come. Rochelle, you can take, not sure who are going to speak, but now you can take it. So we are done from our side.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Hi,
much.
hi, Ambesh. Hi, Marius. Hi, Rachel. This is Presh here. Again, thank you for that session. We have a 15-minute break, actually,
Okay.
just 10 more minutes. And we have our next speaker, Sujit Kumar Sukumaran, and we'll be continuing in 10 minutes. So, of course,
Fantastic. Thank Presh for updating us. And yeah, hope you're enjoying the weather there. At least we are here. But I think
it
everybody
is.
get a quick 15 minutes bio break or coffee break or something.
Yeah.
And then we can connect in 15 minutes, everybody. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Have a great
Thanks,
day. Bye.
Ambesh. Thanks, Ambesh. Thanks, Marius.